is the second unit in chemistry, and it's the first video dealing with numbers and measurement. Today's video should be a total review of things you've been taught in the past in either a math class or another science class, but it's worth reviewing. It will be a really good idea for you to be comfortable with scientific notation because you're going to use it a lot in chemistry. So let's just review. What is scientific notation? Well, it's expressing a number with only one digit before the decimal point, and then the size of the number is expressed as a power of 10. So for instance, one digit before the decimal place, 7.23, and then the size is this power of 10 times 10 to the second, and that superscript 2 is what we call an exponent. Let's review our exponents. Some people call them powers of 10. If we have 10 to the second, it's the same as saying 1 times 10 to the second. That's the same thing as 10 times 10, which is 100. If we have 10 to the third, it's the same as saying 1 times 10 to the third, or 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1,000. Let's keep going. 10 to the first is like 1 times 10 to the first, which is just 10. 10 raised to the 0 power is the same as 1 times 10 to the 0. And if you remember, any number raised to a 0 power is equal to 1. And so in this case, 1 times 10 to the 0 is equal to 1. Now, what if our exponents are negative numbers? So 10 to the negative 1, or in other words, 1 times 10 to the negative 1. That's the same as 1 over 10, or a tenth. What about 10 to the negative 2, or 1 times 10 to the negative 2? That's the same as 1 divided by 10 to the second, and that would be 0.01, and so on and so on. So that's just a brief review of our exponents. So let's go ahead and try to put some numbers into scientific notation. So we'll start with the number 642. It's not scientific notation because we do not have one digit and then a decimal place. So we've got to move. The decimal place, it's not represented here, but it would be right after that 2. 642 point. So we've got to move that decimal place so that we only have one digit before the decimal. So we're going to move it 1 10 place and then 2 10 places. So look what happened. It became 6.42. Because we moved it a 10 place, we have to multiply it by 10. Because we moved it another 10 place, we have to multiply it by another 10. Well, another way to write that is just 6.42 times 10 to the second. So we moved our decimal place 2 to the left, and so our exponent is a 2. Moving our decimal place from 642 to 6.42 made our number look smaller. You know, 642 is bigger than 6.42. Well, putting it in scientific notation made our number smaller. So I like to say you got to make up for it by making your exponent larger than 1. And that number that is larger than 1 is how many places you had to move your decimal to the left. And in this case, it was 2. Let's go ahead and now look at a number smaller than 1. So 0.072 is smaller than 1, and we want to get this into scientific notation. So here's our decimal point. So it's not in scientific notation. To get it into scientific notation, we have to move it 2 places. There we go. So we have 7.2. And we moved it 1 place, 2 places. So So it's like 7.2 times 10 to the negative 1. We moved it a second place, 10 to the negative 1. Or in other words, 7.2 times 10 to the negative 2. If you're moving the decimal and you're going to make the number larger, which we did, it was 0.072 and now it's 7.2. I like to think of it as we got to make up for that, and the number of places we move the decimal will become our negative exponent. Here was our number. We made it bigger because we moved the decimal 2 places. We're going to make up for it by giving ourselves a negative exponent. Now let's go the other way. I don't know why you'd want to do this, but I guess you can. I like to work with scientific notation, but let's go backwards. Let's take numbers that are in scientific notation and take them out of scientific notation. So all in that beautiful scientific notation, 1 digit a decimal place raised to the 3rd power. Well, that would be like 3.92 times 1 to the 3rd, which is 1,000. So look here. We've got 1 10 place, 2 10 places, 3 10 places. We want to move that decimal place 3 places to the right. 1, 2, 3. And you just fill a 0 in the blank. So this number, 3.92 times 10 to the 3rd, is 3,920. Well, you can check. If your exponent is 1 or larger, and it is, then the number that's coming out of it should be larger than the number you started with. And it is. We had to move our decimal 3 places to the right. Make the number bigger by moving the decimal place 3 to the right. All right, and one final slide here is going to be taking a number where our exponent is a negative number. So scientific notation, 1 digit decimal, 10 to the negative 4th. So that's like 2.49 times point, and that 0 out here is just to hold the decimal in place. Okay, it's just holding the decimal in place. 0.1, 2, 3, 4 places. It's like multiplying by 0.1, 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. So we had to move that decimal to the left 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, that 0 is just there to hold the decimal in place. If your exponent is a negative number, then the number part should have gotten smaller. So here is our number 2.49, and here it is 0.000249, which is much smaller. So we had a negative exponent. We had to move our decimal 4 places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you have it. We're going to practice this in class. We're going to take numbers and put them into scientific notation, and we're going to take numbers that are in scientific notation and take them out. Have a good day.